order. Stand, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
a nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, looks like I skipped prayer, but are you Nancy?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I skipped over you too. I'm still listen prayer though.
Thank you for allowing me to pray over this meeting.
Check your.
Heavenly Father, we want to honor you today. We thank you for this opportunity to serve our community. Lord, and I just pray over every board member and every single person that's in this room. I ask that you will give us wisdom and understanding of every situation that may arise. Lord, help us to represent your kingdom. I ask you to just continue guiding and strengthening each and every one that is here. And we give you glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, since I screwed that up already, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Here.
Commissioner Fournier. Here. Commissioner Francisco,
Here.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Here. So the next item, so I know, we had our agenda. And as I'm sure people can see, we're light on our board tonight because of different things. We have to appoint an individual, but, we're gonna have, the library discussion pulled only because I want to make sure that everybody's here. All the commissioners are free to give their input before we move on with that. So we'll pull that, and with that, I'd look for a motion to, unless there's anything that anybody else needs to add, look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
All support.
support by Commissioner Fournier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay, next up, we have public comment, and as you can see, we have a brand new clock, and we got our county administrator that's been trained on how to operate the clock. So if anyone that would like to, I actually have one, I'll call up Brian, if he could come up to the podium and start 3 minutes. We know your name, so you can go from there.
Thank you so much for listening to me today. Here as a concerned citizen, I've been an Alpena County resident for 21 years. I've lived in Alpena proper for years now. I didn't really get involved in local politics until the library matter started happening. I think the whole community is pretty fired up about it. I'll compare each other. I think the idea of trying to remove anybody from the board who's been doing an exceptional job is an absolute waste of county resources. I know you have to have attorneys to advise you in the process. I know there will be attorneys involved in the ongoing litigation regarding that. And I think that that would be a huge waste of resources when we're already almost $2 million in the hole. I really think that any movement for that should be reconsidered because it's just, again, it's a waste of time and resources for everybody. The commissioners, the library board, and our community as a whole, to be frank. I think that everyone is way too fired up and everyone needs to take a step back and really think twice.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
sir, can I get your name again, please?
My name is Brian Perry.
Yeah,
Brian, oh, you have his card. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
sorry. So does anybody else need to have a comment? No? Anybody online? No? Okay. So again, I kind of jumped ahead. But we will move into the interviews for District 3 County Commissioner, vacancy by Robin Lalone. What we've done in the past is we've interviewed, well, we've done a couple of things in the past, which the most recent thing that we've done, I think works better. We'll interview each candidate, ask candidates questions, and while we're asking the one, the other one will have to step out. And then we'll ask the same one, the same questions to the next candidate, and then we'll make our decision. So the other thing we've done alphabetical, so I guess Lucille, you get to come up first. And Kevin, you could just step out for a minute. Someone will let you know when we're ready to move. Hi, Lucille. So why don't you start off by telling us about you and why you wanted to run for County Commissioner for District 3?
Sure. I'm currently retired from the city. I worked for the city for 25 years, well, close to 25 years, but 25 years in the city clerk, treasurer, finance director's office. I handle payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, elections, voter registration, all manners of city government. When I was getting close to retirement, I was thinking about public service, public office, and I had considered the city, but I had spent too many years working here, so I had considered the county commissioners. And I feel that working with the local government, you work with your taxpayers, the people that take, that taxes closer. And I also have experience working for the federal government. I worked for the military for 13 years. So I know how the federal government works. And the federal government regulates, you serve the military, but the local government, it appears that you're navigating your citizens and your employees, you're navigating, trying to interpret and fulfill all your regulatory obligations and with your citizens and your taxpayers. So government is what I know. That's, 40 years of that. I did 10 years for a private company. I worked for Alpino Oil Company. And I like to help people, and I know government, so I figured I'll mix the two together, and that's where I made the decision. When I spotted that there was a vacancy that might not be filled, then I made the determination that there was a possibility of running. So I got all the paperwork, did my research as what's going on, and thought that I'd like to give it a shot. So I didn't want to see any area of the city unrepresented. So that was my first move. And that is why I had decided to run. And I also made the decision to apply for this appointment due to the fact that I wanted to get into this slowly. I've had major life changes, and I wanted to do this real slow, but I look at this as being an opportunity that you don't really get too often, that you can come in and learn what's going on. For instance, the budget, learn how the county functions, learn what your voters want. The voters get to see how you function. So I had to weigh the two. Just the opportunity in itself appealed to me, being able to be involved in your difficult budgeting process right now. That is important, and I think I've covered that. So, any other questions?
Okay. Anybody else with a question? I know I don't want to be the only one to ask questions.
Yeah, I do. So can I call you Lucille or Ms. Bray? Lucille, okay, so Lucille, why should we select you over the other individual who's interested in the position? Why should we select you?
Well, I feel that I have more local government administrative background in the financial end of it, the clerk end of it. I don't know too much about the other individual. So I really can't say why I would be better. I'm just speaking for my experience and how I feel about the community. I've lived here since '88, so I've been here a long time, and the community's been good to me. So that is why I can't say I would like you to pick me over the other person. So in not knowing that person, I feel that administrative, I can be more help. I can be more help on budget. I can be more help in a lot of the local government functions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brenda, Bill?
Okay.
Are you going to run in the next term?
this only goes till,
Yes, I am currently running.
She's on.
I'm on the ballot now.
Right.
I'm on the ballot. I'm in District 3, which is precinct 3 and 4, nonpartisan. I didn't get paperwork in enough time to be on the August ballot primary.
okay,
So I made the decision to run as a nonpartisan because I wanted my name on the ballot. I also am a chair. I chair an election precinct. So I could just imagine trying to count all the variations of somebody trying to spell my first name, which would have to be counted as a write-in. But that's minor. But yes, I am running currently right now.
okay, thank you.
Do you prefer to work alone or with others?
I prefer to work with others. I've worked with others for 50 years. Although I do, I prefer my alone time. I'm retired, but I would say I prefer to work with people. I also worked in retail briefly.
I got a question for you. So this is probably, I don't think anybody really, and I can guarantee you these guys will attest to this, but really what's involved with being a county commissioner. But one of the question that I like to ask is, there are many boards and committees that a commissioner will have to serve on. Will you be able to commit to those committees and have the time to serve?
Yeah.
I know, yesterday I had, I think, two out of town meetings. I had one in town. Today I had two meetings. So there's constant meetings. It seems like every time you turn around, there's,
When you say out of town, you're talking within the county, correct?
No.
Or outside the county?
yeah. So yesterday I was in, Onaway and Sheboygan, not Sheboygan, Atlanta. But so I know Bill serves on a committee that rotates. Actually, Brenda is on the committee as well, but there are three counties, 4 counties, district health. So each month each month they rotate to different counties. Bert's on a committee that, twice a month.
Twice a month.
Goes to Atlanta. So I think that's probably one of the biggest, realizations is that, that there's committees that we serve on that aren't just here. And this year, what I tried to do is divvy it up a little bit, so not everybody's out of town. Each commission, I think, has at least one committee that's out of town. I know, the district that you're gonna be serving in. I can't remember what the committee that where Robin was on, but, there, like I said, there are a number of committees, and that's probably the biggest shock is you're not serving on a board with, 2 meetings a month.
Bi-monthly.
2 meetings a month here in this room. You know, there are meetings that I go to, there are a number of meetings that I go to within Alpena, but then, like I said, I've tried to divvy it up so that way everybody's got kind of one that they're serving out of town.
Mhm.
Because it'd be tough for one person to have to constantly be going out of town to do something, so.
I understand. When I made the decision that I was going to run the nonpartisan, I got my petition in. And then I did a deep dive into what had been going on in the county for the last year and a half. I hadn't been too aware of what had been going on. So I brought myself up to date as to what's happening. So I had reached out to, someone that I respect in local government, and it was recommended that I attend meetings, not just bi-monthly meetings, but every committee meeting I could find. And that's when I started. I started that a few months ago, and it was very helpful. I learned, and I can see what is involved. That is why when I learned, I think this has been going on a month that we've known that this vacancy, and I had to step back and think, okay, I see all the committees, I see what's going on. So I had to really search within and see, what I felt I could handle, and I feel that I can handle it.
And I know I've seen, obviously, when we show up to most meetings, this is unusual that we have this many people at a meeting. Most times, you're probably the only one or one of a couple that are at the meeting, and those other people are usually the few that are in the back that are actually county employees. So, okay, thank you. Any other questions for anybody?
No, sir. I'm good.
So I got one more. Obviously, we're sitting up here on this side and my question actually would be, how are you with dealing with public speaking? We have to deal with the media sometimes. We have to deal with, I know I deal with a lot of people on a regular basis that call me usually about something that they don't want to happen or, they're for or against something. So I'm constantly getting phone calls. But how do you feel with public speaking?
I'm fine. I am good. I'm a little nervous. I don't do it very often, but I can feel right now that, I can feel it settling in. But when working for the city, I was our union steward for almost 15 years. So I negotiated contracts with three city managers. So, it's a lot of talking, a lot of speaking. So, but no, I'm fine with that.
Okay. I know most people that know me know that I'm pretty bashful and I don't like to speak publicly.
Leaders.
What's all that snickering? Okay, so no other questions from anybody else?
Yeah, I guess I would like to ask one
Okay.
more. So if you would, Lucille, tell us, do a self-assessment. What is your greatest strength? And what is one of your, I guess, lack of a better term, what is an area of weakness for you?
I think my greatest strength is my ability to listen. I look at myself as being a very good listener and going out of my way to not react right away. That's something that I learned as I've gotten older. One of my weaknesses is I have a tendency to weigh everything back and forth. So that sometimes can be a struggle, but it's helpful. So
Okay.
that's
All right, thank you.
okay.
Well, one of the good things about being well, I don't know if it's a good thing. Well, a lot of times I'll tell people that, when it comes to decision making, so you're one person, you represent your district. So you're one vote out of 8 people. So, what I would recommend is, if you feel passionate about something, then you stick with how you feel. And, you may be the only one sometimes that votes a certain way, but, you got to vote the way you feel you got to vote. So. Okay, if there's no other questions, just ask that you guys remember the questions that you asked. So when we have Kevin come in, we'll just ask him the same things.
Okay.
So if you could just switch places with him,
I will.
thank you.
You also go to Fair and Green.
Yeah, with NEMSCA. Counties or something.
Yeah.
Michigan, so.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Hey, Kevin.
Any other good answers left or?
No, we just got all the bad questions. She took all the good questions. So we're going to ask you the same questions that I know I've highlighted, written down here. So I'll start by asking, tell us about yourself and why you decided to put in for the District 3 County Commissioner.
My name is Kevin Ginter. I've lived in Alpena County, the city, if you will, for almost 10 years now. I got transferred from the Air National Guard base in Battle Creek. Actually close to the fire department there as a full-time position. The only place left to go was Alpena. So I came up here in 2014. I have 5 children. I have 4 grandkids, and that's getting to be a good thing for me, especially as I get older. Less hair or gray hair, however that works. Went to Ferris and got a bachelor's degree in printing management. The first real part of my adult career was at a printing company in Chicago and also a printing company in the Kalamazoo area. I enjoyed printing quite a bit. I think it's creativity fit my personality. And then when I met my to-be wife, Her dad was a member of the Mackinac Island Fire Department. I spent a lot of time going cover to cover on the fire department trade magazines and found that that really fit me as a person. Always someone that tried to do things for people and look out for the common good. And I think as of a few years ago, I started noticing some things that maybe didn't sit right with me. I thought, let's bring attention to some of these things and see if it catches the attention of others. See if something could be done to right the path or do something more efficient, or just maybe not do something at all because it maybe in the short term, it might have been a fix, but long term, maybe not. So I think that calling or that thing that keeps me going is my effort to hopefully make some productive change and make life better for the citizens of Alpena County as a whole.
Okay. I don't remember who was the next
I
person.
think I was.
Okay.
So Kevin, I have the next question. So there are two of you that are interested in this position. Thank you both for, your interest to apply for the position. So why should we select you over Ms. Bray, since the two of you are in competition, if you will, for the position? Why should we select you?
Yeah, I think I bring some life experiences. I've seen a lot of different, I lived in a lot of different places. I've seen how do they do things here, how to do things there, what makes sense for the community. One of the things we talk about in firefighting a lot is you might find out that this widget is effective for Detroit, but you bring it to your home fire department, maybe that doesn't work. Or maybe we could chop it apart and reshape it, and maybe it'll be a good fit for the community you work in. I think that's probably the strongest thing. I just spoke to someone today. I was a little bit passionate because it meant a lot to me. And I said, the reason I'm standing in front of you right now talking about this topic is because I care. And while that maybe won't fix everything, because I think there's a lot to learn, I always expect that local officials will do the best and come to the meeting prepared, reading the agenda, trying to make sense of stuff. The city of Alpena recently had a proposal for a 120 some unit senior project. And I think I've learned to dissect some of that stuff and just, what is this? And does this make sense? And this is good in the long term. It's good for producing more housing units. So I think I bring that attention to detail, ask questions. I always think I have the best interest of the greatest group of people. I don't think you can make everybody happy on everything. It's just not possible. Everybody has a different perspective, even in some of the simplest things. I think I also spoke recently with someone about the library, and I'm pretty sure it was a compliment, but we both disagreed. And she said, at least I have respect for you because we can actually have a discussion about our viewpoints and see if we can't come to something that would troubleshoot like where we are with the library. Does this make sense? No, this doesn't really accomplish maybe the squeaky wheel wanted as far as removing people from the library board. But, I think I also try to build relationships where I can and to problem solve like that. Once I took an interest in local government, I'll say, I thought it was important, and I'm disappointed that more people don't attend more public meetings, whether you have something to say, whether it's a compliment or whether you're going to complain about the animal shelter or look for some changes in various things. I thought, well, I can't really speak to what's going on if I don't attend these meetings and at least have some sense of what's going on. And I probably for the past year and a half to 2 years, I've attended most, I know we're talking about Alpena County, but in terms of attending meetings and trying to find out what's going on, most DDA meetings, most planning commission for the city of Alpena, most city council meetings, and at least one a month for the general county commission meeting. And I think all this wrapped up into one is where I think I would help the county the best, at least in this short-term selection up until the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No?
Yeah, are you on the ballot on the, for the next election?
I am not. Would you like me to be?
Well, you can't be on now if you're not on it. So you're gonna end up just for the 3 months?
If you selected me, I would only be here until the end of the calendar year.
Okay.
Do you prefer to work alone or with others?
Well, the quick and short answer is right back to the fire department. We almost entirely, 99.9% of the time, work as a team. It's more productive, it's more efficient. We get more done. Some tasks take multiple people, 6, 8, 10, to either affect a rescue. It's more than just driving the fire truck up to the front of the house. We have fire hose that needs to be pulled in position, ladders, who's in the house, utilities, so on and so forth. I can definitely work alone and be a self-starter. I think, okay, I'll stick with that.
Next question I have is, so as a county commissioner, there are many boards and committees that the commissioners serve on. Will you be able to commit to those committees and have the time to serve? And one of the examples the last Lucille, when she was in, I know Bill and Brenda go to once a month. They're at different places, usually 3 times, and then they have one meeting here. Bert's usually in Atlanta to landfill. I was just yesterday in is that Atlanta?
The MOA landfill?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in,
Okay.
it's and also in Gaylord.
I was just in Atlanta and on our way yesterday, they pointed out that we have meetings in Gaylord and what was the other one? Roscommon?
Well, with NEMSCA, they're all over the 14 county or however, 14 county area. They move around northern Michigan, northern Lower Peninsula.
I guess my point is that there are a lot of committees that aren't just here, and I know the majority of people think we come to a meeting once a month or a couple times a month, and we're usually sitting here, but there's a number of meetings out of town. So my question is, would you be able to serve on those? And not that you would serve on all of them, because I've kind of divvied it up so that way everyone gets like one. But would you be able to serve on a committee that's out of town?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. I think one of the benefits of my full-time job schedule is that, so it sounds bad, but a typical full-time firefighter works 10 or 11 days a month. Those are 24-hour days. So that blends really well into not having any conflicts at all to maybe taking the occasional pay time off or vacation or whatever to attend the meetings that would be necessary or to help, or someone couldn't go to a meeting. Yeah, I can stand in for you and go to that meeting. So yes.
Okay.
So Kevin, my last question is, to do some self-assessment. So what, in your opinion, what is your greatest strength? And conversely, what do you think is one of your greatest weaknesses?
I think one of my greatest strengths has probably been to follow or look into, don't pay any attention to the guy in the little room that says, pay no attention to the man behind the screen, is to make some sense of what are people saying? What are they talking about? How does it apply? Is it match what's being said? I also like the fact find. I also like to look at, I think these are kind of rolled into the whole thing of just being interested. What do people do someplace else? Is that something that we can do here? Weakness. Too perfect. I think I could have done a better job as a husband and a father, quite frankly. Just some self-reflection and self-assessment. Really.
Okay.
Yeah, with that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, and I think, was I the last question then? Okay. So with the being a county commissioner, one of the things you deal with a lot of the public and different constituents within your district. How do you feel about dealing with the public and then public speaking?
Well, except for maybe a response to someone in the room. She's sitting. I usually try to on Facebook. This may not be other people's opinion. My opinion is that I try to educate and inform. If I know something about something, whether I mean, there's some crazy stuff on social media, of course, and sometimes it's a challenge to sort of back to the part where I said, let's have a discussion. If someone wants to have a discussion with me, I will certainly spend time with them. I don't have any problem. If someone has a concern and I can find out some information about it, I'm certainly willing to get back to them. Not afraid to take on people's concerns. I mean, in essence, that's kind of why we're here is, maybe more so maybe for me, it might be a little more attention to the county district number 3, but on a whole, sort of the cornerstone of Alpena, the city of Alpena and the people in the outlying area. You want to be able to do good for things for them and do things for the whole to, promote housing and tourism and business development. So it's not an issue for me.
Okay, all right, thank you. No other questions? Guess we'll,
Both members back in and then cast for vote.
you're all set, Kevin.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
So I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you for both of you for submitting an application for county commissioner. I know that we know that no one ran for the district and initially, and so this is a kind of a big thing for us that we have candidates, individuals willing to step forward to fill this vacancy. I don't know if there's any other comments or questions, or if we want to, I guess, we've done this in the past, we just.
It's usually just a roll call vote.
Okay.
If you cast your vote, we have to do it publicly. We can't use ballot. Then the majority would win.
So any other comments, questions before we do that? If not.
We're going to make a motion first to who?
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Okay. I'll make a motion that we select Lucille Bray as the county commissioner for District 3.
Okay, do we have?
I'll second that motion.
So I guess we have a motion in support. We'll do roll call.
Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Yeah, make sure you vote the right way.
Oh, Mrs. Bray.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes,
Motion carried.
I guess you're it. So you get to come up here now and
Yes. Don't
So-
be shy. Come on up here.
Lucille, you, Carrie's gonna swear you in. So you're official.
Yes. Okay.
Make sure you get Kim in the picture because she loves it.
So if you raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Alpena County Commissioner, District 3, for a term beginning 9/24/24 and ending 12/31/24, according to the best of my ability.
I do.
I tried my best, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, nothing like just jumping right into the.
Yeah.
Thank you. Need these.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. Hope it's a wise decision.
So, the next item that we have on the agenda, did you get a chance to read the agenda?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know. So the consent calendar, there anything that anybody would like to pull for discussion? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Francisco,
Support.
support by Commissioner Fournier. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes,
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. The next item is bills to pay. If there were any questions, I know I asked my questions except for one, that I didn't get answered early. Kim's sitting in the back there, so she'll be able to answer that. But does anybody else have questions?
I don't have any questions.
No questions? So I was over talking to Kerry, and there's a GPS clock, whatever. Do you know any, well, I'm sure you know
I
about it.
do, it's just like this, but it's, so we currently have one in central dispatch, but it's so old, they're afraid if they unplug it, it's not gonna work again. And so it's just on the wall in central dispatch so that everybody's reading from the same clock.
So there were two of them. So I'm not sure, let me just pull it up here. One was, equipment and replacement, master clock, GPS wall clock. I'm not sure where that one went, but it was 3,900. And then the other one was 911 improvements, master clock, GPS receiver, wall clock for 1847.
IT sourced them, and they ordered this one and they asked while they were ordering if we wanted to replace ours since it's
So
well
one was,
past its age. So one was this one and then one is for 911.
that's the GPS clock?
Is yours hooked up though where it automatically keeps time according to like this, there's like a satellite that
I would assume
shoots
so.
it
I-
out?
This
one,
GPS.
this one we actually have to set. I believe that type of clock is one where it keeps time according to the internet, like sort of international satellite that.
Okay.
IT selected the model and he's like, this is a good deal. Do you want it? And it was a good deal. And I knew that we were overdue to replace ours. So, and, so the one for us is being paid from the 911 fund. And then the other one is from wherever, but yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So I just have to ask the question, we're paying $1,900 for a clock?
um,
This, we're paying $1,900 for a clock, and that's what IT recommends?
this one is coming out of the
That's a question.
fund.
It's-
Yeah,
Okay, it's a question, just.
I don't know. Well, that's why they jumped out at me because I'm like,
Okay.
okay, so any other questions? If not, I'd look for a roll call.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
No,
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next up, we have Nina. Come up and give us your,
Congratulations, Commissioner Bray. Here's our annual report. Sure. There you go. I want to thank the commissioners for allowing me to come in. By statute, I do an annual report for each county commissioners. And I'd like to start off by thanking you for the board members that you've appointed to our board. And currently that is Eric Lawson, Bob Adrian, Kara Bauer-Lamons, and Lynette Kraskowiak and Judy Jones. They are all very active on our board. They certainly take a personal interest in especially populations that we serve, and they attend regularly. So thank you for those board members. I'm happy to report that once again this year, and this is for fiscal year 23, so we're always a year behind, that we have been able to report to our board and community members that Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health is financially sound. Additionally, our regional prepaid inpatient health plan, our PIHP, which is called the NMRE, Northern Michigan Regional Entity, covers all 21 counties. So I and the other 5 directors that cover all 21 counties of the 5 CMHs is also viable. We have a fully funded internal savings plan for the PIHP, not for our CMHs, but for our regional organization we do. So now let's look at the annual report that I provided to you. If you turn to page 5, you'll see our graphs, and that has to do with our services and our finances. So let me draw your attention to page 5, and we served 2,249 individuals last fiscal year, which is an increase of 150 individuals over the previous year. 1,433 of these individuals were from Alpena County. This is a slight increase from the last 2 years. In fiscal year 2023, we served 1,325 adults with a serious and persistent mental illness, 537 children with a serious emotional disturbance, and 387 persons with an intellectual developmental disability. We had an increase over last year in all services, with the largest growth to our services for children. We provided 1,908 crisis or access contacts, and our psychiatrists, physicians assistants, and nurse practitioners assisted 1,431 individuals in our psychiatric services program. We often see, especially children, entire families and many members of the same family, but we count those as one client, and then we serve the whole family. So those numbers are a little misleading. Years ago, when I first started in this field, it was believed that someone with a serious and persistent mental illness would never be able to maintain employment and hold a job, and that they would be disabled for the rest of their life due to their serious mental illness. At Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health, we adopted an attitude that we believed that the best thing for a person's mental health was a paycheck. And so we were one of the first CMHs in the state to sign on to supported employment programs and to try to find people jobs that they could do and interact and engage with others. Last year, 163 individuals were served by our employment service program and are working in competitive employment jobs. We were one of the first CMHs, as I said, to embrace the supported employment program through the state. And today, roughly 25% of the people that are diagnosed with a serious persistent mental illness is working. Okay, some full-time, some part-time, some with supports, and some without. So also, this will be in next year's report because our employment program was recognized by the state as one of the best in the state. So that'll be part of our annual report next year. So Northeast Michigan Community Mental Health has been actively focused on becoming more visible in our community. trying to reduce stigma, connecting individuals with available resources and the community, and promoting our crisis services for all people. In May of 2023, we hosted our very first annual mental health movement run, walk, race, and it started in our parking lot, went around the bike path and the river, and it's a beautiful walk. And we registered 208 people for our very first walk run event. It smashed our initial goal. We were hoping maybe get 100 people. So this year, because of much feedback, we expanded that 5K to a 2K for younger children, disabled people, or elderly people to do the 2K, the regular 5K, and added a 10K. We're one of the only chip timed events. So we had a lot of serious runners that were real excited that we were starting this annual event. And this year we came in a little over 200 people again. So it's become very positive and promoted in the community. And we've gotten great feedback from the people that participated when they participated in our surveys. And it's just a way to reintroduce ourselves to the community. We've been here over 50 years. But over the years, we've been a very silent partner. We take care of a lot of people in the community. I worked here as a social worker for 26 years and really had no idea what community mental health did and how many people they took care of. We operate 9 AFC group homes for disabled people, and we take care of them and staff them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And in this employment and workforce shortages, you can recognize how difficult that challenge is. So, Michigan's behavioral health system has been run and operated county-based governmental entities that serve Michiganders with complex mental health, emotional disturbances, and intellectual and developmental disabilities and substance use disorders. Each year, more than 325,000 Michiganders receive their services and care from the Michigan public health care system. I want to again thank you for your support and for the people you've appointed to our board so we can continue to provide those services to people in our 4 counties. So thank you for your time and support. Please contact me if you have any questions, concerns, or suggestions. Yes.
I have a question just to make sure I get one of your facts that you said you operate 9 adult foster care homes. That's in Alpena County alone or?
4 in Alpena.
4 in Alpena,
And
okay.
The other 5 are in Presque Isle, Mount Morency, and Alcona County.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
We did the vote to pay the invoices, but I don't think anybody actually made a motion.
Oh,
Second?
Well, I'll make the motion that we pay the bills. That's,
It's fourth. Thank you.
we can stick with what we voted still, right? What did we miss out?
I have no idea.
Okay. So next up is, I guess, me. Plaza Pool cash flow. Oh. So, Cindy, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
So, what I know about this, from talking to Cindy was, and if you have additional stuff that you want to correct me on or whatever, go ahead, jump in. But so apparently, the Plaza Pool is short, and you saw the letter memo from, Kim. They're short based on payroll, and then there's some outstanding, invoices that need to be paid. I know, and I don't know if this impacts it, but I know after talking to Cindy, we still have 3 months of the bond payment that we pay with them, or I don't want to call it Amoresco because I don't like that. But it's 2,500-ish a month that we have to still pay. So there's still quite a few invoices left. And I know I get frustrated. I recently, I saw the article or letter to the editor in Saturday's paper, which indicated that, that the Plaza Pool, and I will say the Plaza Pool does a good job, but the Plaza Pool gets no funding from Alpena County, which my wife, after reading the article, she said to me, "You guys don't give any money to the Plaza Pool?" I said, "Oh, contraire." I said, "We've given, so far this year, we've given $25,000 back in February. We've just given $17,000. What was it, last month for the
Heat exchange.
heat exchanger, and now 10,000, we've got 3,000, 3 more months left. But fortunately, we don't really have much of a choice on this because we still have payroll to cover. And like I said, the invoices that are paid all, as well as the 3 months worth of the bond payment. So we're going to pay for it one way or another. I'm sure I know how at least the individuals that are here feel. But with that, I would look to see if we could get a motion to transfer as the treasurer requested the additional 10,000.
I did have a question though.
Well, we're gonna, if we can get the motion first. So we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Fournier. Now you can ask the question.
What I read was that the request for the funds was for the payroll. And I think it was, they had 5,600 or 6,000 or get them through. This is September. Do they come back each month through the end of the year to get, what happens to their payroll moving forward?
Chairman, just so you know, and I'm sorry, just as a little bit of background. The treasurer actually, when she brought this memo downstairs, actually said she would project another 10,000 needed near the end of the year to cover additional costs.
Well, which is probably the cost that I just mentioned with talking to Cindy. So normally I would say we don't normally kick in this much. In the past, we've kicked in, 15,000, whatever, 20,000, whatever it is. For whatever reason, they have, and last month was one of those unexpected expenses that, if we don't replace the heat exchanger, we're not
I
gonna have
remember that,
heat in
yes.
the pool. So, but I guess to go back to my point about the letter to the editor, where the Alpena County, that we may not budget in our budget for this stuff, but we end up, it will come back to the county as an expense. And right now, I know I've talked to the clerk's office, I've talked to Jesse, I've probably talked to Cindy, but we literally cover every single thing in the pool. So if they buy something, we pay for it. I mean, it comes back to us. We do have the Friends of the Plaza Pool. We do have Youth and Rec that we do get money for. But ultimately, everything in that pool that is paid for, it may be paid for through Synchronization Inc. Is it Inc. or LLC? But ultimately, the county pays for that. Right? Because I've been into your office numerous times, we get, every month we get invoices and they go out and buy stuff and then it comes back in. Synchronization will send us an invoice, we pay it. So
Okay.
whatever for anyone to say that the county doesn't cover anything is incorrect because we cover pretty much every single thing in that pool.
Do they have their own budget, their own?
Well,
budget?
Norm will do a budget and then I believe submit it to us, but ultimately, and the only thing that really helps us is that that's the major thing that helps the Youth and Rec. And again, Friends of the Plaza Pool.
So you just wait for them to approach you again if they need it before the end of the year?
If they came to us tomorrow and said, we need another $25,000.
That's a possibility
Yeah,
then.
we don't have, and that's one of the big reasons that there's been talk about a new pool, but, I know at least how I feel, and probably the same as some of the other individuals here, that at this particular time, Alpena County does not and cannot contribute to a pool at $25 million or so. We're barely keeping the pool open that we have, so.
Okay.
Chair, I get to further discussion. What frustrates me though is that any of our department heads and even elected officials, when they have an issue that comes up within their budget, they come here and they present to us and tell us why. Here's what's going on and here's why. I can't remember the last time we had somebody from the pool come in and say, here is what, other than our maintenance manager, our maintenance department head comes in and says, well, we have the heat exchanger problem again. It just frustrates me a little bit that we don't have anybody coming in and say, this is why we've not been able to balance or manage our budget. And this is why we need more money from the county. other than we get a letter from our treasurer that's in the, on board book that says they needed to cover payroll. But,
Additional invoices.
and additional invoices, but I know, I'm a bit frustrated with I guess, the process because it's a private entity that's managing the pool in this particular case. But we don't ever hear it directly from anybody from the pool management.
Well, I know that we talked about having them, supposed to come to facilities to give us updates like Northern Lights, but we haven't really got there yet.
And I'm not on the facilities committee. If they are going through the facilities committee and that's where the presentation is coming, fine, but I don't ever see that in the facilities minutes. So,
This particular
Yeah.
one did.
okay, so
So this is out of left field, or I shouldn't say left field, it's out of that infield. So we weren't expecting it, but we kind of expected. We shouldn't expect it, but.
right. And so now we have to react quickly because it's a crisis.
And
Yet,
as Jesse mentioned too, and I know, again, talking to Cindy, that we have an additional easily 7,500 just in the bond payments coming up.
Right.
Over the next 3 months.
understand that.
So,
But that's projected. We can anticipate that because the bond payments are monthly. We know that, but
so we have a motion and we have support. Again, I feel frustrated as all of you do, but we're at a point where we do have expenses that we have to cover. So I would look for a roll call then.
Commissioner Francisco,
regretfully, yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
No.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Just as a side note, I'll talk to you about something, just to keep you updated on something as well after the meeting.
Okay, very well.
Okay, so I guess moving on, we have the next item, again, with money. Due to the fact that we have two grants that were submitted for by Parks. And I guess we somehow got those pulled. So we have $168,000 that the Alpena County would have to cover, because obviously, we have to be the I guess, the signature on the grant. So this is during a discussion with, I don't know who it was, Jesse, a different individual that probably talked to you as well, Cindy. Probably because you tell us every time we go to a parks meeting, you guys got to watch your money. You don't have that much money. So we have an additional with two grants that were, the county share was $168,000. So I'm looking for a motion to withdraw those two grants just for the fact that we do not have that additional funding to cover those grants.
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion by Commissioner LaHaye and support by Commissioner Fournier. Is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Next item, we have Plaza Pool. This one here is a grant that was submitted for by Kim. Was she supposed to be here?
She was, yeah.
It's on Zoom.
Oh, is she? Okay. And then just before she speaks, I just want to mention, there's a big difference between the management of the Plaza Pool, which is Synchronization LLC, and the director of the pool, who's actually been a pleasure to work with. So just let you guys know before you go in.
Say that she's listening.
All right.
Okay, so Kim, I'll say, take it away.
Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes. Yep.
All right. So I'm trying to bring in revenue. And one of the things I did was Starfish Aquatics Institute is to improve our swim lessons.
Well, just hang on one second. We're on
Okay.
the Northeast Michigan Women's Giving Circle Grant.
Oh, I'm sorry. That one is for lifeguard training equipment. One of them was the infant CPR dummies and then extra equipment that we would use like whistles, our hip packs, stuff like that. And there's no match to it. We were granted $1,250. So that would just help us with our training.
Okay. All right, I love these kind of grants when they say no county match, because that makes it an
Correct.
easy decision. So I
Yes.
guess I'd look for a motion to approve the Northeast Michigan Women's Giving Circle grant for the Plaza Pool for the Life Training Education Project for $1,250 with no match.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye.
I'll support.
We have support by Commissioner Bray. Any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, next item is your recommendation for the Community Foundation for Northeast Michigan grant for the Starfish Aquatics Institute project for $3,000, no county match.
No county match again. I had applied for 5,000. We received 3,000. It's to improve our swim lessons. We're trying to bring in more students. It's to improve not only our group lessons, it's also, we're trying to do adaptive swimming, which is special needs. And also we were gonna open up for an adaptive swim, which also would bring in more money is what we're trying to do. And also our private lessons. And no match. It's a benchmark system. It's for ages star babies, so 5 months on up.
Okay. So I'd look for a motion to approve this grant.
Make the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Bray. Any other discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, next item is Stacy Stewart. Child Support Investigator. I don't know who that is.
She works for the prosecutor.
Why, yeah. But I'm looking out in the audience trying to figure out which one is her.
He's not here.
Yes, Cynthia was unsure whether she'd be able to make it. So this had to do with the memo that Cynthia had sent out previously. Dealing with the contract, this entity performs reporting and processing of financials and timesheets, tracks deadlines, and helps with their reporting. As of right now, I believe they're past contract, but there's kind of like a understanding that they'll continue. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight, so if there are questions that go beyond what was outlined in the memo, it can be delayed until the next meeting for a final vote.
So I'd look for a motion, well, unless you have questions that would pertain to actually having Cynthia respond to that. I do have questions, but I don't think that it would cause me to not be able to vote on this. So I guess I'd look for a motion to recommend the approval of the agreement with MGT Impact Solutions LLC beginning 10/1/24 with an automatic renewal at a cost of $6,000 per year to continue to provide financial services to the child support program in the prosecuting attorney's office.
I'll make the motion as presented.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second that.
and support. Questions? So one note that and my only question is, again, I know it's 5,000 to 6,000, which would be a 20% increase. The net cost to the county, based on the funding that we received, would be a total of $340 more. So it's not too significant. Any other questions, concerns, issues? If not, I'd look for a roll call on that.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, next up, we're gonna go to Steve Smigelski. No, I'm just kidding, Kim.
I'll sit back down.
No, come on up, Kim.
Oh, yes.
I've done it already twice today, jumped over somebody, so.
Good evening. So I received a letter recently from the State Attorney General's office They were doing an audit of their legal agreements on file, and they discovered that they were missing an agreement from Alpena County. Back in 2021, Alpena County signed an agreement with the state for our radios and our console to be part of the state's Michigan Public Safety Communications System. And we integrated into their system. And at that time, a resolution and a signed agreement was submitted to the state. And so everything was square. We then went on to become fully integrated, which means the tower that we used to use for our primary communication now is actually our redundancy. The pages for the radios and the pagers goes out through our fiber. And the tower is secondary from us. So the state is asking for an amended and updated agreement and resolution to reflect that our capabilities on their system have gone to the second level. And they're just asking for an updated resolution and an updated signature on their agreement that they sent. It's all part of your packet. I also included the original resolution in the original packet. That was before my time, but I did a little bit of studying on it. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Okay. So I'd look for a recommendation to adopt resolution 2424, Michigan's Public Safety Communications Systems amended and restated integration agreement as presented.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Hayes, support by Commissioner Fournier. Any question that I have, and I think maybe you answered it, so it's really an updated because, is it because we have the new tower?
No, it doesn't actually have anything to do with our tower project. It's the radio consoles that we went from paging directly from the surrounding towers, that the communication went directly from the tower out to the end user. And now it goes out through our fiber and from the dispatch center, the tower is secondary. It's a redundant layer for us. The primary communication goes out through the fiber.
Did that happen when we upgraded to the 7500 series?
Yeah, that's my understanding. It was when it was a project of Mark's, and it appears the state even admitted that it looks like they never sent the paperwork to be completed.
Yeah, when we
So
upgraded those costs.
oversight on their part. And another part of the agreement is it outlines all the maintenance responsibilities. There's several pages. It's in your packet of
Yeah, it was good.
a matrix of who's responsible for the different layers of preventive maintenance and all that. There's actually one that I found interesting. Every 3 years, the tower has to be climbed and all the tower bolts checked. Thankfully, that falls on the responsibility of the state.
Oh, because I'm free if you need someone to
I'll
climb
keep
the
that in
tower.
mind.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion in support. Any other questions? If not, I'd look, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Steve. Is he on Zoom? Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening. Are you in a dark room?
It appears that way.
You're in the closet?
come into the light.
There you go.
It helps when you slip the little cover off the lens.
Yeah. Give us some good news.
Well, it's good news in a roundabout way. The 2011.
I'd like to see you spin this one to be good news.
Yeah.
Well, watch me go. This particular truck, this 2011 Ford truck, was purchased with federal airport improvement program monies. So the cost of the county initially was quite low. Unfortunately, as the truck is moving on in years, it's requiring basic maintenance. Well, the AGS guys reported to me that they were experiencing some play in the front end of the truck. So we took it down to our auto for them to have a look at it. And the estimate from our auto is $8,848.09. So after I picked my jaw up off the office floor, I asked them to take the truck over to Dean Arbor and have them take a look at it. And Dean Arbor's estimate was $8,505.49. Now, this particular truck is outfitted with a Vericom 2000 friction measuring device, which we use to report to the airlines what the friction reading is on the runways and taxiways. So that's how it was able to be purchased with AIP funds initially. But the truck takes a tremendous beating because you have to bring it up to 30 miles per hour every 1,000 feet and then lay on the brakes until the truck skids to a stop. And as far as you skid, that's what tells the Vericom what the friction is on the runway. So as you can, if you've had a chance to look at these, there's some significant wear and tear to the front end parts, the brakes, the transmission. That's all to do with that heavy duty start and stop that has to be done every time that we do a runway inspection. So I more or less wanted to make you aware of how much it was going to cost to repair this vehicle. Because as I said, when I saw $8,800, I almost had a mini coronary myself. I do have the money in my vehicle maintenance budget, so I can pay for this without requesting any additional funding. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them.
We talked about it at the airport
In the
meeting,
airport committee meeting?
and we decided that it was better to replace, to fix the thing than get a new truck, because it's gonna cost us $1,000 a month for a new truck and maybe more.
Yeah.
Because that's a heavy duty truck.
Yeah.
That's a 350.
Put that equipment and get it transferred over.
So we'd save some money along, we just get it repaired and get it back on at the airport.
Yes, the money, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve the.
So if I may ask, you going with the Dean Arbor quote, Steve? Is that your recommendation?
Actually, I would go with the our auto quote, even though it's higher. The reason why is our auto discovered the timing chain cover was leaking. So to replace the timing chain cover, you have to actually pull the engine out of the vehicle to do that. Dean Arbor did not put that in their estimate, so that's probably something that they would find as they were working on the front end of the vehicle. So we would end up exceeding the estimate from Dean Arbor.
You said you have these the funds in your budget.
Yes, I do.
So what happens when we need a new truck? Is that, because you mentioned that this vehicle was purchased with airport funding? Or
Yes,
not
the
airport?
FAA.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have a motion.
Think we do yet?
He did.
Oh, did you make the
Yeah,
motion? Bill?
yeah.
Make a motion, but I'll change it to make to change I said the lowest bid, but we'll go with the
Our
The
auto.
recommended bid of our auto? Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion,
Support.
support. Any other discussion? No? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, next up, we have the reports and ad hoc committees. I was chair of facilities, so the only thing, and I've already mentioned this, we have a pool heat exchanger that we replaced for 17,000. One thing another issue with trucks is we have an issue with the fairgrounds truck that we're gonna be figuring out what to do with. And then I know Jesse's got it on later, but fairground storage fees will increase slightly. That's all I have for facilities unless anyone has questions. And if they don't, then we'll move on to courts and public safety, which is me again. Childcare budget, I don't know if you guys saw that. It was $194,000 increase, but the increase in reimbursements have allowed her to provide them with more services with less local money. So that is a good thing in a way. Our 911 assistance is working with Roscommon during their shortage on dispatchers to help them out. And then we have our ambulance contracts being reviewed by legal. And that's all I have for courts and public safety. Next, Anyone questions? If not, moving on, personnel.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the stuff is covered in
Yeah.
the package.
Very good.
And because, well, you guys kind of mentioned the airport and we just talked to Steve, so I guess unless there was any other thing, we'll kind of move on from there.
Extra copies in case they didn't.
Left the other committees. So. Okay, under committees, we'll start with Commissioner LaHaye. Your planning and veterans, any items?
The planning commission canceled our meeting this month, so there's no report there. And veterans, they had a meeting and everything seems to be going well there. So there's nothing, any big
Okay.
thing going on.
And Commissioner Ludlow's not here. We're gonna skip over that because I don't think we can have update on that. District 3, any updates? Nothing? Okay, we'll move on.
Sorry.
Commissioner Peterson's out. Do you have anything from the landfill that you wanted to?
Well, it's going to be further in the agenda. The specific item to talk about is to get the county's support to the, to the MOA landfill. And so I just hold off until that agenda item gets,
Okay,
it gets addressed.
okay. Commissioner Fournier, District Health?
Bill's got the report on it.
The only thing in the district health was they talked about vaccinations, and there have a lot of people don't want to vaccinate their kids, probably 30, maybe 40%. And they can get a waiver if they sit down with the nurse for 15-minute interview. And then if they still do not want to get the vaccinations, they can get a waiver, and then the kids can get into school. And that was the main thing they talked about, other health issues, but that was one of the main things they talked about there.
Okay, is that it then?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Francisco.
So the two topics, the first one with Northeast Michigan Regional Entity, specific to Alpena County, Mr. LaCrosse from Catholic Human Services presented a request for funding, a continuation grant from NMRE. And I believe it was for $60,000, but I can go back and look at the records. But the bottom line is the NMRE board did approve the request for continuation funding. So that was really the only action from Alpena County from the meeting earlier in September. The opioid update, we did meet the regional network met earlier last week, and Administrator Osmer and I attended. And one of the main topics was, of course, the transition and the recommendation that we establish a more specific committee for opioid settlement funding disbursement, and that's on the agenda. So I'm just going to hold off any further comment until we get to that agenda item, if that's okay.
Okay, good.
Subject to questions, that's all I've got.
Okay, Commissioner Konashevsky's not here, so I don't think anyone has any updates on that. Mine, the only thing that I have, we have a recycling committee meeting Thursday, Bill and I. And then I sent out last night the Northeast Michigan Consortium, which was the meeting that I attended yesterday. I know that when I sent that out, a lot of that information, even when I sit in the meetings, it's there's a lot of acronyms, but one thing that I will say is there's a lot of money coming in through MyWorks, through all the different counties within their area. So like I said, I sent that document out last night. And if you guys have any questions on that, I probably won't be able to answer them. It's very confusing. But there is, like I said, the main thing is there's a lot of money that they put into the communities. And that's all I have. So there are no other questions. We'll move on to Commissioner County Administrator Jesse Osmer for Opioid Partners Committee.
Sure. I'd like to begin by actually thanking Commissioner Francisco for inviting me to that recent meeting. It was extremely informative. I didn't realize it was that many people, Commissioner, to be honest, so I appreciate that. So I had drafted a memo for the board, speaking to the opioid partners, well, it'd be the Opioid Remediation Settlement Fund Steering Committee, which the county is encouraged to develop. It's encouraged through the Michigan Association of Counties, as well as the Michigan Attorney General's Office, in order to give advice and counsel to this board as far as how those funds should be spent. Again, these would be recommendations. What I learned was that the process does involve this board appointing a committee, which we have not yet done. So my recommendation would be that we appoint a 4-member board. I did include a timeline as far as when we would post those openings, hold interviews with the personnel committee, and place them and allow them to do their work. If we do it quickly, we'll be able to get them to help disperse those funds within this budget cycle, at least some for FY 2025 and a little bit maybe possibly for 2024 if it fits. But really what this falls to is the fact that this board had not yet actually appointed a group. So we just want to make sure we're doing things right. And I'm going to speak for the board just for consideration and giving me the okay to begin the process to get that board appointed.
So to follow that, as I mentioned, when our previous administrator began working, when the opioid money, settlement money was coming in and the county was holding the money, of course, Mary Catherine Hanna left. I was willing to continue to be the bridging strategy. And now that we have a new administrator and in my involvement in the things I've discovered is that, there is a lot of interest. So to formalize the process, I believe, as Jesse has mentioned, that we need to establish an actual committee and go through the process, much like we do other boards for other Veterans Board, Parks and Rec, et cetera. And actually advertise and select members to be a part of this committee to recommend to this board how we should, to receive the RFPs, to establish an RFP process and to make a recommendation to the board as to how we should disperse these funds. So I'm going to make a motion that we establish this opioid steering committee. We can get a better title for it later on, but for this organization to be established and to review and recommend the disbursement of opioid settlement funds.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Francisco.
I'll second that.
And we have support by Commissioner LaHaye. Any discussion, any other discussion? The only, I guess, thing that I would ask is with this deadline, and you mentioned personnel, that's going to be tight.
It would have to move, yeah, and I apologize. I think originally this was meant for the previous meeting. We still had a little bit of work to do, so we'll adjust it accordingly, but we can still meet the deadline and get this done before the end of the year.
Okay. That's the only thing I had. Did anybody else have any questions?
Again, just to, we've already dispersed somewhere in the tune of $200,000, I believe, as as Administrator Osmer indicated in his memo, and just $50,000 to the Sunrise Center. We had $20,000 to the Freedom Recovery Center, $83,882 to Al-Anon and for needed building repairs. And then the money, $51,000 to the Hunt team. So we have dispersed funds. We have done it in accordance with the settlement guidelines, but now I just think we need to go back, take an operational pause and then establish this a more formal committee.
Okay. So we have the motion, we have support. If no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passed. Next item is this next item is new business, which would be the MOA CFO letter. Francisco.
Yeah, so as you are all aware, we have a tri-county, Montmorency, Oscoda, and Alpena County landfill that's located in Montmorency County near Atlanta, Michigan. And it's a requirement that every year after the financial audit is done, that the counties recommit to the authority that should the landfill somehow cease to operate, that the counties that are involved would be responsible for the financial closing, if you will, of that landfill. This has been a recurring event ever since the authority was established. So essentially what we are doing is what we need to do based upon state requirements is that we have the CFO auditor letter that's included in your packet. And we need to, again, Alpena County needs, Board of Commissioners, we need to reaffirm our support to the MOA Landfill Authority.
Okay, so I guess I'd look for a motion to approve the recommendation to approve the Mount Morenci Oscoda Alpena Landfill Chief Financial Officer letter and all pertaining documents upon attorney approval and authorize, yes, me, to sign the pertaining documents.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
I will support that motion.
support by Commissioner Francisco. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed. Next item is County Administrator Osmer.
Sure. All right. I was approached a few weeks ago by an individual who works, she does craft shows around town, and this entity, the money or the proceeds rather from these craft shows, they choose a different group to donate the proceeds that they make from that craft show to. They would like to do a winter craft show and they would like to utilize the Merchants Building. They contacted me because they were looking for us to waive some of the fees. They're willing to pay up to $100 to help cover utilities. But all proceeds from that craft show will go to animal control. So it's actually a win for the county as far as money that will go to help support that entity. So I'm just looking for a motion to allow them to utilize the Merchants Building this winter for a fee of $100.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Fournier. We have support.
I'll support it. You want support?
Yeah.
Okay, we have support by Commissioner Bray. Any other discussion?
Is this a nonprofit organization that's looking to rent this?
It is a nonprofit.
It is a nonprofit. Okay, so would they have to, actually, is there a rental agreement that they have to enter into? Liability insurance or anything like that would, because public is coming into their event?
Right. I believe we did look into the insurance. I'm so sorry, I don't have this readily available. I believe if I remember correctly, the insurance would be covered.
Okay.
As well as the food license that comes with rental of the building. So as long as there's some monetary transaction, then they would be covered under both of those.
Okay.
So I would have to write up kind of a special agreement, but it would be in the amount of $100 rather than the typical fee.
And a typical rental fee. Okay. No other questions. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. If that's it, I would, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next up is medical examiner increase.
So this was brought up previously, and they sent a chart with the increases. It's minor. It's basically a cost of living increase. However, it would be an adjustment of roughly $1,850. I did talk to Lisa today. She's actually redlining out an item, which is around $860. So it's actually going to be only about $1,000 increase for the medical examiner's fee. So she or budget rather. But again, went through and they're minor increases that would be expected like this.
We don't really have much of a choice either.
Not really, no.
Medical examiner's beating down our door.
No, that's a fact.
Okay, so I would look for a motion to, let me just see, a motion to approve the medical examiner's increase. So actually though, I guess we need to know, is the increase only going to be 1,000 or because are we approving the 1,800 or?
We would approve the 1,852, but once the budget finalizes, there will be a cut in that budget of around $860.
Okay. So I'd look for a motion to approve the increase of the 1,800 as County Administrator Osmer mentioned for the medical examiner.
I'll make the motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye.
I'll support that motion.
Support by Commissioner Francisco. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes,
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, motion passed. Fairgrounds storage pricing.
So I was contacted by the fairgrounds recently when I know if we were going to maintain the same amounts. I can tell you, Parks and Rec recently went through and increased some of their costs. So I thought it would be worthwhile to look at increasing the cost for storage also at the fairgrounds. I called around to some other entities that do similar business and got their pricing. What I found was we charge way, way less than everybody else, or were at least. Some of the costs from competitors would have been $23 per square foot, $14 per foot, assuming an item's 8 feet wide, and $25 per foot, assuming an item's 8 feet wide. We charge $1.75 a square foot. So my recommendation would be that we look to increase it either by 50 cents or 75 cents. So let's say we have a typical RV that measures 8.5 feet by 45 feet. If we increase it by 50 cents, the total to store that for the season would be $860.63. If we increase it by 75 cents, it'd be a cost of $956.25. To compare that with other entities, let's see, for storing a RV of that size at two of them, it would be $1,035 and $1,125. There would be one that would be a little bit cheaper, but that facility is older and located at kind of on a weird area, which would be $630. So it's a little bit more expensive, but without the convenience of it being located right in town. A couple of other adjustments would just be that we currently charge $10 per item for each day that we hold them past the removal date. I would recommend that we increase that to $15. And we also charge $10 to access an item mid-season. It's a lot of work considering where that RV or boat or other item is placed within that storage unit. So $10 really didn't make sense. I'd like to up that to $40 just because of the amount of time that it would take that individual to go and put batteries in and pull things out and access a unit that might be in the middle or the back of the storage facility. And then the $10 voided contract fee we would keep. So that would be my recommendation, but it would be up to the board whether they would want to pursue the 50 cent or 75 cent increase.
I have a question, Jesse.
Sure.
If somebody wants their trailer out and it's way in back of the barn, we have to move all the trailers out.
Right.
We don't.
As our,
The fairgrounds.
well, the
The
fair.
county.
Okay. Are they insured if they do something to that trailer that they are pulling out?
Well, they'd be putting them in, so it'd be under the same insurance policy, I would assume.
Well, they don't put them in though.
They do.
Well, whenever we store ours at the fairgrounds, we always put our own in.
You're special.
I was gonna say it's news to me because I just met with Holly and she was explaining what hours they would be moving vehicles in and out. And
Yeah.
they did say they did
So
have
we
a
don't have to put ours in this year. We can just take it to them and they're gonna put it in for
my
us.
understanding, and they did have individuals who would call ahead and back, who say we'd prefer taking it in ourselves and they'll help them back it in, but yeah. So according to Holly, that's what I was told.
We've been putting it there for years.
I know Patrick would put them in the past.
He'd help.
Would, and also individuals would put their own in.
Well,
would help.
Either way, I mean,
And again, we've already been doing it for a charge of $10. All this addresses is that fee change.
well, and that's for pulling it out early. So,
Correct.
normally we keep them in until, what is it, beginning of March or not March, May?
May.
Yeah.
They leave them until May 1st.
Okay, and then we pull them out. So if someone were to come to us between that time, February, and say, I want my trailer, I'm heading to Florida, $10 is not very much, especially like, it's said, if it's at the back of the
Oh, yeah.
barn, that's a lot of work to get it out. There's a lot of campers that would have.
I
to come
didn't
out.
know they were insured to do that though.
Go with the 40.
Okay, well, you got two things, so I think,
I'll go with the 15. I'll make a motion and we go with the 15, the 40 and the 75 cents.
you're going with the 50,
15, 40 for the For each
Oh, you're going
day
over
it's held after fast, and then the removal date, mid-season is 40, and then increase the rate to 75 cents for the total cost of $956.25. Because we're way low on the total cost compared to competition. So we're still lower than the competition.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye for those increases that he mentioned. We have support.
Effective when?
Well, I guess it would be because we have people getting ready.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking there were, it should be effective immediately, I would assume, just for clarification, you know, what's our effective
I'll
date?
add that in a motion and
Once we approve
effective
it.
immediately.
Yeah, Holly's been keeping a list of people who've been contacting them, but we begin usually early October. So as soon as you guys approve it, I'd get it to her tomorrow.
Okay,
Begin.
so we have a motion. We have support.
I will support.
We have support. Any other questions, concerns?
That's 15, 40, and 75.
So we're gonna
Yes,
go
15, 40,
15,
75.
Yeah.
the 40, and then this one here.
As recommended, yeah.
You got all that, Kim?
Mhm.
Okay. So if no other discussion, roll call, please.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes,
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, motion passed. Next item is the transfer of DHD funding.
Yep, we have Miss Bryan here. Hey Denise. Denise had contacted me, it was about a little over a month ago, I believe. We started the discussion. As you might know, the county acts as a pass-through for the other counties under DH4. They'll pay in to the county and the county basically collects the funds and then writes a check out to DH4. They've asked to start managing their own funds so that we basically wouldn't be taking the funds in and passing out. It actually relieves some of the workload off of our treasurer's office. So it actually works out well. This would not include, obviously, we'd still be getting, the rental funds would still come in as usual, but all other funds, they would be managing themselves. The only item that the treasurer did mention, if we do pursue this, is that we specify in the motion that if the funds are to be transferred, it would be in the amount agreed to by both parties as of September 30th to DH4. And that way we have a nice clean close of books at the end of the month. Needs to leave anything out? So sorry.
I think we would like to thank Alpena staff and commissioners for the support through decades of that fiscal stewardship. I think it organically has evolved with our single audit. Our finance director, Jerry Hillis, he's in his sophomore year, so he's looking at these things. So we changed our fiscal year as well. So we're doing a short book year. And we did meet Strasmer and myself to talk about our continued partnership. And we talked about the fiscal year, and I didn't really clarify that I was going to do a board motion to change that to October 1st. And nothing as simple as you hope it would go. But I do like the idea with closing out the fiscal year and that month. It also is good timing with our payroll, that if there's a lag in the electronic transfer or a check transfer, we still will be able to make that payroll timely. So that's some information that was given to me. The only other piece of financial stewardship that I would see at Alpena is the annual local community stabilizing fund that is pass-through dollars, in which Alpena has a formula whereby they get the money November and December, and that a portion of that goes for some of your community programming, and a portion of that goes to local public health. So that will keep us connected on an annual basis with that stabilizing fund. But we do think there'll be some efficiencies gained for both departments.
Okay, so I guess I'd look for a motion. And I'm not sure, are we,
Would you want me to read how the motion should be worded? Or turn to the treasurer? Okay, I mean, with that, okay, all right. So the motion would be to, my motion would be to transfer funds in the amount agreed upon by both parties as of September 30th to District Health Department 4.
okay, so we have the motion that Jesse read. Would anyone like to approve that? So you don't have to
You have to
second it because
You have
he's.
to make the motion.
Say whatever he said.
I'll make the motion.
Can you reiterate what he said?
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, I didn't have, and then to allow them to manage their funds going forward.
You good?
That part is important.
The second.
Yes.
Okay, questions, because you guys are both on DHD and I'm
Yes.
sure this has been discussed there.
It was.
We talked
So,
about it,
you know,
yes.
it's come-
Okay.
I'd like to hear from the deputy
was-
treasurer.
That was my next question.
Yeah, just, yeah, get her thoughts before we vote.
It's all on you, Cindy. Good thing you came tonight.
Yeah, good thing I was on vacation last week. I believe it's a good idea and I think it will work out just fine.
So you support that recommendation then? Okay, thank you, Cindy. I have no further questions.
So, and I'm just looking at what the attachment was. So we in the past have taken in the funding from all the other counties and been responsible for that funding and then sent it back to DHD4. Is that how it worked? Because this is what I see in here for Fund 221.
I'm sorry, 221 is,
This DHD District Health Department.
That's not the in and out.
Fund.
prefer not to do a line item.
It's a-
Yeah, the tre-
I'm just asking.
yeah,
It's a pass through.
yeah. Well, there's one that's a pass through, but then there's one that's an intake for rent. So
Right.
I apologize. I don't have BSNA up right now, so I
Okay,
can't pull that line item. Wasn't prepared for
The
that.
balance sheet shows the 221 fund.
yeah, okay. All right, any other discussion? Lucille, you have any?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. So I don't need roll call, or this is just, that's for funding, so we're not.
I just
actually-
need-
Just to be safe.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, I know that been a lot of responsibility for the couple here tonight with motions and seconds, because we didn't have a lot of people to do that, but thank you. So looks like we're at the end of our meeting, and so I would,
Chairman, just real quick, if I could, just for clarification. I was messaging with our IT director on the question on that clock.
yeah,
So it is connected to the atomic clock, which keeps everything within 100th billionth of a second.
I was concerned about that.
Well, but it also runs the servers throughout 911 as far as making sure all the computers, all the equipment that they use, everything is on the same time. And make sure that's all concise so that they have accurate reporting.
Okay, with that information, I'll change my vote from no to yes, because it's much more than a clock.
And
Too late, Harry?
and addition,
Either way, so.
and additionally,
It still passes, but for the record.
he believes it may have cost less than the original clock that it replaced.
Okay,
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to get the information as quick as possible.
yep, good job. So finally, we're at the last public comment. If anybody would like to speak, step up to the podium, please. And get your clock ready, Jesse.
Not the atomic clock.
We got rid of that, but
That one and all.
My name's Silkworth, Alpena County resident, and it's a comment about the library. The former gentleman saw no point in spending the money or the time to do anything, just stand back and this continues. The number of us citizens have seen the books, you've seen the books, and they don't belong there. They don't, our children's hearts and souls and minds are being warped by it. And we suggested a simple to the put them behind the desk where a parent has to check them out, not a child. They dug their heels in and they refused to do it, which is why we're at where we're at. So I just think the right thing to do, there's always been the fight against good and evil. We're fighting for good here because those books, those X-rated books for our children are no good. It's the moral decay is enough already without adding other things. Sorry. I say we keep going full steam ahead. I've supplied a number of evidence that I found and discovered more as time goes on that it just seems to be an agenda of possibly one individual there. So
Okay,
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah. Anybody on Zoom? No? Okay, I guess I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hay,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Gray. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.